Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard back here with another Wi-Fi battle. So today we're going to have our third match here against, you guessed it, that is the infamous JoeyFontaine. So you should all know Joey by now if you've been following the channel for any length of time. He is basically my most storied rival here in Wi-Fi battling. Guest on the Captain's Table podcast as well. Strong competitive battler and PokeTuber as well as friend of the channel. So he always brings some strong teams to battle, and this time is no exception. As you can see, he's got a powerful looking team on the side there. Definitely looks to be a Sun team of sorts. So looking at my team, it is the same one that I have been using the past few games here. So what do I want to lead with here in this one? I think we're just gonna go with the Don fan in this one. And we'll see how that works out. So this is sort of the rubber match here on Scarlet and Violet, although obviously we've battled Joey many times over the years over a bunch of different Pokemon games, so hopefully this goes well here. As there he is, and he is going to lead with the Meowscarada, which is not great for us with the Donphan lead. So we have a couple of options here. We could just straight up switch into something, although we don't have a ton. I mean, we do actually have a decent switch, I should say, into this thing. However, he could definitely... what does he want to do here? You know, I think what we're going to do in this situation is we're actually going to predict him to perhaps just pivot out. And we're just going to go for a Stealth Rock here, try to get that up. It looks like it would be pretty beneficial against this team, as he actually just goes for the knockoff. Protean going to change him to a Dark type. That is going to take us down by about a third, get rid of our leftovers, which is unfortunate. We are going to go for the Stealth Rock in return to get the entry hazard up on him, which is nice. So yeah, unfortunately our Sturdy is broken here, which does suck. So the question now becomes, how do we want to handle this thing? So he could be, we didn't see Life Orb, so he could be Choice Item here. I don't know if we can take a Flower Trick from this thing. I kind of don't think we can, but at the same time, I think what we really have to do is probably just stay in and try to get some damage on something and see what he wants to do here. So we're just going to go ahead and try to Earthquake here, as he is just going to straight up switch. So I think that's confirmation that that thing is going to be Choice Item. So he's going to switch directly into the Gastrodon, which is not great. He is going to take some Stealth Rock damage there, as we are going to go for an Earthquake. And that is going to do a lot of damage to this thing, actually, knocking it down to about a third HP. He does get some HP back from the leftovers here. So that definitely looks to be a two-shot kill from this range. I think it's worth... I don't know who's going to outspeed who, but I think it's worth the risk of trying to get rid of this thing before it can set a Stealth Rock of its own. So we're just going to stay in and click Earthquake here and see what happens. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we'll see what he wants to do here. We're both relatively slow, so I'm not sure who's going to win the speed here. We actually go first, which is incredible. We go for the Earthquake, and that's going to finish the Gastrodon off and knock him down to 5. So that is an absolutely great start to the game for us. As we get rid of the Gastrodon, and we do have our hazards up, and I don't know that he's going to have another hazard sitter. He might, but now he's going to go ahead and come in with the Sauce Buck, and he's going to take that Stealth Rock damage. So I think in this situation, what we might want to do is save the Donphan for later. If we anticipate the Grass move is coming, we can switch into the Orthworm, and I think I'm kind of leaning toward that. So yeah, we're just going to switch straight into the Orthworm, predicting the Grass move here, and see how that goes. So there is the Orthworm, and he is in fact going to go for the Horn Leech, which is going to do next to no damage to us, which is incredible. He is going to heal some HP back there. and then we are going to regain some HP here with the leftovers. So we're in an interesting situation here because he may well not want to stay in on this matchup, and if that's the case, obviously we might predict accordingly. This thing can carry fighting moves though, so there is a chance he may want to stay in on this matchup. So we got an interesting decision to make. I think there's no reason to do anything risky at this point. We're just going to play it safe and go for an Iron Head, as he does indeed go for the switch. And he's going to be coming in here with, it looks like it's going to be the Torkoal, so he does get that thing in. He does take the Stealth Rock damage, and then he is going to get the Drought to turn the Sunlight Harsh, of course, as we are going to go for the Iron Head here. It's not going to do much of any damage to this thing, but we are going to regain some HP here with the leftovers, which is nice. And so, yeah, no leftovers on him, so he's probably going to be Heat Rock. I think we definitely switch out here. We don't want to take an attack from this thing. So I feel like the best switch we do have in this situation, I think we're going to go for the, this is going to be a tough one, actually. I think we'll go for the Rotom. That seems like the safest play, because he may try to Rapid Spin. He may try to set up rocks of his own. We don't know. But we do know if we come in with Rotom, we can have a good matchup. So we come in with that. He does go for the Rapid Spin. Going to do a little bit of chip damage, raise his speed, and then, of course, remove our Stealth Rock, which is not great. But this turn, we can definitely scare him out with the prospect of a Hydro Pump and go for a nice Choice Specs Volt Switch. So that's exactly what we're going to do. He stays in, we go Volt Switch, and it is actually going to be enough to go ahead and take that thing out outright, which is incredible. And that's going to knock him down to 4. We also get the Pivot here, so the only bad news about that is we are going to have to show first. So we're going to have to decide what comes in here. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to come in with the Salazzle, actually. Reason being is because we do still have our Focus Sash intact, so we know we can survive any hit. And yeah, he is going to get the matchup on us regardless because we have to show first. So knowing that, he is going to go ahead and come in with the Walking Wake, which is obviously bad news. This thing is going to get a Photosynthesis boost to increase its speed, which is obviously terrible news. So Walking Wake is obviously a huge problem. So the question is, how do we want to try to handle this thing? He still has a lot of turns of Sun left, I believe. Yeah, so he's got, assuming he's Heat Rock, he still has a bunch of turns of Sun. So I think the best thing we can do is just try to get some damage on this thing. I don't want to use my Terra just yet, so I think we are just going to... We know this thing's going to outspeed, so we're just going to fire off a Dragon Pulse on this thing as he goes for a Hydro Steam here. And that is going to knock us, of course, all the way down to our Focus Sash, but we do survive because of it. And then we are going to go ahead and fire off a Dragon Pulse in return, and that is going to take this thing down to about a 3rd HP, which is really good damage. So I don't think it's worth trying to switch to save this at this point. So we're pretty much just going to let him take us down here. We're just going to click Dragon Pulse again, as of course he outspeeds obviously, and the next Hydro Steam will definitely take us out. And that's going to be it for the Salazzle. That's going to knock us down to 5. So now I think the question is, what do we bring in against this thing? Because this thing is an absolute problem. There's no two ways about it. With its speed being heightened with the Photosynthesis, I don't think the Iron Valiant can outspeed. So I think our best bet here is to come in with the Rotom and hope that he's Choice, which I think they usually are in some way. So we're going to come in with the Rotom here, and I think our best bet is going to be to try to fire off that Choice Specs Volt Switch and hope that he's Choice. As he is Choice, he goes for the Hydro Steam here, and we can survive that. It takes us down a little below half, but we fire off a nice Choice Specs Volt Switch in return, and that is going to get rid of that Walking Wake and knock him down to 3. So definitely crisis averted there, as that thing is just a huge threat. Now the only bad news about this, once again, is we are going to have to show first. So what do we bring in on the empty battlefield is the question. I think... How do we want to play this? I feel like we go into the Earthworm. I think like that. I feel like that's the best play right now. So we come in with the Earthworm. We are going to regain the last of our health with the leftovers, which is nice. And then we'll see what he wants to bring in here. So he's got. We have to check and see what he's got left once he brings his next selection in here. So he is going to go for the Meowscarada, so that's an interesting one. He's going to come in with that, and yeah, he's going to come in with the Meowscarada. So he's got the Meowscarada, he's got the Iron Valiant, and he's got the Saucebuck. So I'm not 100% sure what the Meowscarada is going to do to us here. I feel like he might just be going for a knockoff or something. Earthworm is a pretty perfect counter to the Saucebuck, so I kind of don't want to... And it could be decent against the Iron Valiant, but it's also pretty decent against this thing, to be fair, too. So, I don't know if I really want to hard switch into the Donphan, but at the same time, I feel like he doesn't go for the grass move. So I feel like we hard switch into the Donphan here, because this thing definitely looks to be choice, so we want to see what he locks himself into. So we're just going to hard switch directly into the Donphan here to try and scout this thing farther, as he does go for the knockoff. Protean going to change him to the Dark type, so that is going to knock us below half, but that should be okay. If we assume this thing is choice, which we definitely do assume it's choice, the question is it worth getting Stealth Rock back up or not? Or is it worth firing off an Earthquake? Because I don't think he stays in here. So I think what we do is I think we do try to get the Stealth Rock back up. So that's what we're going to do. Is indeed he does go for the switch, and he's going to be coming in with the Saucebuck, predicting the ground move possibly. We do go for the Stealth Rock, so we get that entry hazard back up on him, which is nice. So yeah, the Harsh Sunlight is finally gone, and that is going to be really important for us, because that means he has no way to reset the sun, which is great. So I think, I don't know if we really want to take any big risks at this point, but at the same time, Earthworm is a pretty solid switch in. But I don't want to be reckless with the Earthworm now, because we are getting kind of whittled here. Maybe we want to let the Donphan go down at this point. Or maybe we want to sack the Rotom. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like we probably sack the Rotom. That might be the best move, because Rotom, I don't think Rotom's got much value left in this game, unfortunately. He gets outspeed and KO'd by pretty much everything else. So yeah, we switch the Rotom back in as fodder here. We want to try and conserve the Donphan, so we could potentially get something going with that. So we're going to switch the Rotom in, as he does go for the Horn Leech. That's definitely going to take the Rotom out. Didn't want to make a really risky play there. So yeah, the Rotom's going to go down. That's going to knock us down to 4. He's going to get some HP back, which will put him back to full. Now we do have, again, we do have a pretty good switch into this thing with the Earthworm. So I feel like this thing has the possibility to be choice too, actually, I think. So I feel like we go into the Earthworm here on the clean switch. So in this situation, we are max HP and very defensive, so he's not going to want to stay in on this matchup, so we can easily get off an Iron Head on something, so I think that's the best choice. He actually goes for a Body Slam, which is interesting. That's not going to do too much damage to us. We're going to go for an Iron Head in return, which is going to take this thing down to about half, which is some pretty good damage. So that kind of leads me to believe that he doesn't have a good move to go for with us, which is nice. So we do heal some of that damage off with the leftovers. I think we're just going to click Iron Head again here, no reason not to, as it's going to definitely chip the Saucebuck down or get a big shot off on something else. He stays in, goes Horn Leech. It's going to do next to nothing to us. He's going to regain a little HP off of that, though, so I'm guessing he just doesn't have the fighting move, or maybe he doesn't want to miss. We go for the Iron Head. We actually get a crit this turn. Now, that definitely did matter, because based on the damage output, the Saucebuck could have taken one more Iron Head, but at this rate, it looks like it was kind of just prolonging the inevitable. So we get rid of the Saucebuck, which is amazing. That knocks him down to just 2 Pokemon. So we get some HP back with the leftovers. Now he's going to come in with the Iron Valiant. So this thing is going to be the wild card. He's going to take some Stealth Rock damage here, and he's going to pop a Booster Energy to go ahead and increase his speed. So that's bad news for us. The only good thing about that is that we now know that this thing is obviously not going to be choice. So the question is, how do we want to handle this thing? We should be able to take an attack from this thing, especially if we Terra, which I don't know that we want to do. We could switch the Donphan back in as fodder. I feel like we just need to get damage off on this thing, though. I think that's probably what we have to do. He has not used his Terra yet, so he's probably going to use it now, if I had to guess. We could use our Terra as well to try and reduce the damage, but I kinda don't want to do that. I feel like we have to just stay in and go Iron Head here, so that's what we're going to do. He actually doesn't pop his Terra. He goes close combat. We actually can't take one of those, to my surprise. I kind of thought we could tank one of those, but unfortunately we can't. He takes those defense drops. That's going to take out the Earthworm and drop us down to 3. So I'm a little surprised there. I thought we could tank one with the Earthworm being max HP and very physically bulky, but unfortunately, that was not the case. So now we are in an interesting situation, because I think I know what we have to do. And what we have to do is we have to come in with our own Iron Valiant. So we have a face-off with the Iron Valiants here. Now, I believe this looks to be perhaps a speed tie, so I think the best possible course of action here is we are going to Terrastalize into a pure Fairy type. This is going to be our play, I think. We're going to Terra to a pure Fairy type, and I think go for the Spirit Break. I think that's going to be the play here. We know, and we have to hope that we outspeed him, I think. So that's got to be the play now. So we are going to go ahead and pop our Terra here to go ahead and Terrastalize our Iron Valiant into a pure Fairy type here. So we are going to lose the weakness to Fairy if he does outspeed us. As he does outspeed us, he goes Spirit Break, and we can take that. It takes us down by about half. It cuts our special attack, which doesn't matter. We're going to go for our own Spirit Break in return here. It is Terra boosted, of course, and that is going to go ahead and take his Iron Valiant out with a critical hit, which I don't think mattered at all, since we are max physical attack. And that is going to go ahead and get rid of that thing and knock him down to just 1 Pokemon, which is incredible for us, obviously. So his last Pokemon is going to be the Meowscarada, so he comes in with that. He takes some Stealth Rock damage. We know for a fact that this thing is Choice Item, so we get to see what it's going to lock into. If it's Scarf, I think it actually outspeeds us. So all we can really do here is just go for the Spirit Break, so that's exactly what we're going to do. He's going to go ahead and pop his Terra, of course. So what type is he going to turn into is going to be the question here. He is going to Terra into a pure Grass type, so he's going to lose the weakness to the Fairy attack here, and we're going to find out if he's Scarf or Banned here. He is Scarf of his own. He's going to go for the Flower Trick, and that is going to go ahead and take our Iron Valiant out with the guaranteed crit, obviously, and that is going to knock us down to 2. But that is actually the best thing in the world that could have happened for us right now. And the reason for that is that we have in our back pocket our Farigiraf with the Sap Sipper ability, giving it the immunity to all Grass-type moves. So we're going to come in with that. This thing has to be Choice Item. We're going to go ahead and click Psychic here as he goes Flower Trick because he has to. It is not going to work because we are Sap Sipper, and we are going to fire off a Psychic at this thing, which is going to take it right down into the red. And of course, all we have to do is click Psychic at this point. There's nothing he can do since he's choice locked in. So yeah, we do have this. at this point, which is absolutely incredible. Very hard-fought game here, as he has to go for the flower trick, obviously. Again, not going to affect us thanks to Sap Sipper. And we go Psychic one more time. That will be enough to finish off the Meowscarada from that range. And that is game. Alright, so we are going to win that one 2-0 against JoeyFontaine. But that was a great game, actually. Very close, very competitive. Very hard-fought battle there. In the end, unfortunately, with his last Pokemon being Choice Item, I don't think that he was in a very good position, because he had to Choice Lock into something, and not knowing that the Farigiraf had Sap Sipper, that was probably his best option at the time. He couldn't Choice Lock into a Dark move, because that wouldn't have gotten rid of the Iron Valiant, or the Donphan for that matter. But yeah, that was a great match. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and/or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. So that's it, and we'll see you next time.